So, lots of things that should have been done at the beginning of this. Fire exits. All right? Assemble in the car park. If you need a toilet, down that long corridor into the dark, and eventually you'll find a sign that you can't see, go in there and the light will turn on. It's absolutely true. I'm an Anglican priest, or at least I was. I still am technically, no one's defrocked me, I still have my frock. One of the reasons I wanted to come along to this group was, to be perfectly frank, to give myself an ongoing avenue for preaching. Because I think there is an absence of people speaking out in our society. You were talking about PC.
Yeah, I write letters to the preachers. This week.
Well, I feel passionately about some things sometimes, and I don't think anyone's saying passionate things enough. So this is rather weird, because last time we were here, we were in that nice little hall over there, which didn't look anything like a church. And now I'm here, and I've got a big cross, and I've got chapel, and I've got Sunday fun day all around the place. I'm feeling slightly sacrilegious, because I'm going to talk about the poison of fundamentalism. And I apologise if I offend. It's not my intent, but it is my intent to provoke. Now, last time when we were here, you may remember we raised the question of, is it okay to judge? Or should we just listen with an open heart? Well, I'm going to come down on the side of the Bible. And that's as seen through the words of Pete Seeger, or the music of Pete Seeger, Judy Collins. You know where we're going with this? The Birds, and rather strangely Marlene Dietrich, who sang it as "For alles kommt die Zeit, glow, glow." You might know it as "Turn, turn, turn." For every season, there is, for everything, there is a season. Turn, turn, turn. Yeah. There we go. Sing it to me, Donald. Sing it to me, Donald.
I can't remember the lyrics. Too drugged out, sorry.
It's the 3rd chapter of the book of Ecclesiastes. A time to speak, a time to be silent, a time to judge every deed. Now, from my perspective, what I want to look at is fundamentalism. Now, Hitler was a fundamentalist. He had strong, vigorous beliefs which were irreducible. Jews bad, Aryans good. And he believed this was the absolute truth. He could not be swayed from his point. It must have come as an enormous shock to him as the Allies closed in from one side, the Russians from the other, to realise that this wasn't so. The guy that turned up in our home, our city, and shot people up here, he's a fundamentalist. He had taken information and twisted it to his own ends and come up with a theory which said that white people are better than anyone else. And this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to raise the white voice, to throw off our sleepiness, to rise us back to our position of natural ascendancy. And that was his viewpoint. I also want to talk about religious fundamentalism. Maybe particularly religious fundamentalism. Because I think, because we're quite hard on Hitler. We're fairly tough on Hitler. We're fairly tough on the white supremacists. We're fairly soft on the religious fundamentalists. And I want to give you some reasons why it's just as dangerous to let that happen. Whether it's Brian Tamaki or Israel Folau, telling us that they know the truth because God's spoken it to them in their ear, or whether it's a hatred-filled imam from Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, they're all saying the same thing. They know the truth. The truth. There is only one truth. It is their truth. Now, we have this tiptoeing tolerance of religious fundamentalism, and I don't understand why. We shilly-shally around condemning it, and I don't know why. Because it eats away at the ethos of our society. Now, we may look at it and we may think, well, so what? So what? They're just a bunch of quacks preaching away in the pulpits, saying things. No one really needs to listen to them. Yes, we do. Because the step between what Israel Folau says and a suicide bomber is a very small step. So you know Israel's list, do you? Not the country, the rugby player. So who's going to go to hell?
Liars, cheats, homosexuals.
Liars, cheats, homosexuals, fornicators, adulterers, drunks.
Everybody.
Everybody basically who's involved in sickly.
I'm on the list.
Yeah.
You're on the list. We're all on the list.
Wow.
I know. We're all going to hell. Now, the fact that I may go to hell for me is quite irrelevant because I don't believe in hell. But that's not the point. The point is that Israel's saying this because God himself has whispered in Israel's ear that this is the truth. Now, the only thing that needs to happen next is for God to whisper again in Israel's ear and encourage Israel to move us all just a little bit closer to that destination. And because it's God and because it's the truth, what would stop him doing it? And that's my worry. Religious fundamentalism, the truth, is dangerous, and we must speak out against it. And I don't just mean turning the radio off and not watching the telly. I mean actually speak out against it. We need to be tough. Now there's two ways to do this. First way, when you hear someone like that saying things which are just simply wrong, well, I'm going to call it just hate speech, because I don't know another name for it. I want you to stand up and I want you to face it, and I would like you to say, you're wrong. And I'm not going to put up with that nonsense in my world all my life. And I just need people to say that more and more. Now, the second thing you can do, and this is the more fun part, I'm going to have to read a note to get this one. Go onto their own territory. Get into the Bible. Get into the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 13. Remember this. Quote, when the Spirit of truth comes, you will be guided into truth. Interesting. To be guided into truth would seem to indicate that real truth or all truth did not currently exist. I must be brought towards something. We are forever being guided towards an eternal truth. Eternal truth does not exist yet in a scripture, in a manifesto, in a thesis, in a book, in a doctrine or a dogma. It does not exist. We are being moved slowly, encouraged. Do you know that St. Paul thought that slavery was okay? Told slaves to be good to their masters. Told the masters to be kind to their slaves. That's in the Bible. The Spirit of truth came along and guided us somewhere else. Wasn't that nice? Maybe still happening. So grab that little verse. And when they say to you, we know the truth, you can just turn around and say, well, that's not where the Spirit of truth is guiding me. Quote them that. And that's much more fun because it drives them nuts. Thank you very much.